Welcome everybody to today's episode of The Sit Down. Next to me, songwriter, TV presenter, best-selling artist, entrepreneur, loving father, devoted husband, and an all-round cool dude, and a very good friend of mine, Mr. Joe Black. Welcome to our show, sir.
Thank you. It's cool being here in studio.
It's been so exciting, the journey to get you here, and I think we have lots to talk about.
Let's get started.
The reason for this is we want to sit down with influential people and people that do good in our country and have a discussion and take a point of view from them on what's not been discussed in their past. So have a look into a part of your life that perhaps you haven't shared with anyone else before, so we can extract that life lesson and apply it to our lives going forward. Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
So first question that I want to dive into. You are 17 years old. You close your eyes. The beard is slightly smaller at 17.
Shorter,
shorter beard. 17 years old. What are your priorities? What is your number one on the list, number two on the list? What's going on in your mind, and what are you thinking about, and how are you processing issues in your life at 17?
Yeah, well, no one's asked me that question, so that's a good thing, a cool thing. 17 priorities were friends, girls. I think school was at 9. No, school wasn't even in the top 20. I grew up in Pretoria North. At 17, I stayed on my own.
Already on your own?
Just up the road from here. And 16-year-old Joe wanted to become a doctor.
Okay.
17-year-old Joe realized it's difficult to get there. So I don't think I was happy-go-lucky. Nothing, the wind can't blow me over. We're like a small tree. We don't break, we bend, but we stand up. And I think 18 is the part that broke me. Because in January 2020, when I was 18 years old, my best friend died at my house in a freak accident.
Oh.
And that is, I think, what tipped the Joe ambitious, the good boy, into Joe that doesn't care. I don't know where I'm going to end up, and it doesn't matter. I know I'm going to die young. That typical rebellion mindset. But at 17, I'd say, careless.
Careless. So going into the 18-year-old version of you, I mean, I've lost a very, very good friend as well at a young age due to an overdose. And, we were shocked. He's such a cool guy. He used to come visit me. He did his thing on the weekend, and during the week he was very clean, and my parents loved him. He was very friendly. I never saw him do that type of stuff. But when I lost him, it played with my mind a little bit, like, where are we going? This boy had his whole life ahead of him, and at 18 he's gone. I can only imagine if it's a best friend and in a freak accident, because, using drugs, you have to take ownership of that. You played a part in that scenario, overdose. And
the end result is never good.
It's never good. But in a freak accident, I mean, at 18 you said that careless, I know I'm going to die young. What goes through your mind, 18, 19, 20, 21?
So I used to play good rugby. From the age of 7, we didn't have billicky rugby or whatever. We played for the under-9s or whatever. So rugby was a big passion. We had one of the best teams South Africa has ever seen. So I was really good in rugby, but to a point where I didn't care. I didn't want to practice anymore. So I didn't make the first team cut. But I knew I had the talent to play there, but I didn't have the dedication or whatever. So after that, normally kids go study or they look for a job. I just took whatever came my way. In the music industry, there's a thing called the 27 Club. And this, Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain, Jimi Hendrix, all these massive artists who died at the age of 27.
Yeah.
At some stage, it became so morbid that I wanted to join the 27 Club. Or I said, I'm going to join the 27 Club. Because it's a short burst of life. You live powerful, reckless, and you die, and everyone will say he's gone too soon. this is what happened. So my friend's name is Vaughn. Vaughn was one of the most amazing guys. Didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do any of the stuff I did, but he was my mentor. If I was in trouble, he'd back me up. Before school, he'd pick me up, drop me off at school. Rugby games, he'd stand next to the field. And so he was the only, I'd say, positive in my life. So I think the day that was taken away is the day that I just said, you know what, why wasn't me? Or people with so much ambition shouldn't die young. It's us careless, waste of space type of people who should die. So I think a very low self-respect and no ambition.
Yeah. Ambition. I can only imagine, because your source of ambition at that young age, which is critical because you are so influenced by the surroundings, has been taken away from you. So go into a rough stage of your life, fight the demons, fight the battles, and then boom, you come out of it. So how does that happen? And how do you end up, just bringing so much joy and goosebumps to millions of South Africans and people all over the world? I mean, you've played shows in Dubai, you've played all over the place.
New Zealand, Australia, yeah.
How does that happen? So I want to know about that turning point from, being at the ultimate low, your feet at the very low point, and you just, boom, you bounce back into the superstar and amazing human being that you are. How does that happen?
It doesn't happen by oneself. First of all, so I'd say it's just grace, but second of all, it's the people I surround myself with in that stages of my life. So obviously I met my wife when I was 23 years old, which had a massive impact on me because, I was arrested for being drunk in public for the first time at the age of 13.
At 13?
Yeah, by accident because I didn't run fast enough. Yeah, anyway.
So the reason why you were arrested is because you were slow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not going to rugby practice.
It's a domino effect. Practice. So,
wow.
Meeting my wife was a turning point because that made me realize that I want to be better. 25, stopping with drug addiction, alcoholism, and all that type of stuff, and getting married, that changes you in some point. That made me a bit of a hard worker because I knew there's someone else depending on me now.
Yeah.
Having my first kid
wow.
gave me a sense of responsibility. So now I've got a bit of drive and I've got a bit of responsibility. So it's not an overnight thing. Here's Joe Black and let's change the world. It's evolving your character into everything that happened from the day I was born to a certain point. That formed the foundation of from where I react to stuff. And everything that's happening from now on, like meeting someone who has an inspiration on you, building on that foundation, becoming stronger, becoming more motivated, and having children, started working hard, nothing happened, and then meeting these crucial people in my life that just nothing happens without relationship.
Yeah.
So I think relationship excelled me into a point where at the age of 36, I felt confident enough to bring out a song.
So I think a nice point that I want to touch on is, as people join your life, I think at different stages of your life, you're ready to receive them. Because if they join you at 24, you're not ready to receive them. True. So I'm sure, and I'm very open about my faith, so are you. The Lord sends you people to help you and guide you at different stages of your life. Sometimes, you turn a blind eye on them, but eventually He'll send you different people, and the mindset that you're in at that point corrects your course a little bit, and then you meet the right people again. Getting married, I got married at a later stage, but it also changed me. I've got somebody that I need to give my best for. It's not about me anymore, and it's as soon as it's about more than you, it becomes more powerful. So, awesome story.
I just want to add that, to me, there was a thing I read once that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah. So is your income.
And I think that is, when I was single, all my friends were single. When I had a girlfriend, all my friends had girlfriends, the crowd that I mingled with. When I got married, those single guys fell away and all my friends were married.
New crowd.
Now all my friends are people who have children already. So you move on, but then, like I said, the 5 people you spend the most time with, if they're ambitious, if they're loyal, if they're friendly, if they're inspiring, you become that.
100%. And I think a very important part which people need to be wary of is that upbringing is not all bad. It's bad at the time, but that upbringing gives you the grey hair and gives you the knowledge, the GT stripes, to be able to see someone at 17 or 19. And I mean, you do a phenomenal job with Be That Guy. You speak to thousands of kids, and in a crowd of 1,000 children, you touch lots of lives, and you are that person in that child's life that maybe at the right time, you to meet and you course correct a little bit so that he has a brighter future. So,
thank you. But Be That Guy, I don't do it because I have a passion for kids.
Okay.
I do it because I'm looking for Joe. So when I go back to school, I tell them, I'm not here for you, I'm here for Joe at 13, to tell him, pick up your chin. I'm here for Joe at 17, saying, dude, you don't know nothing yet. You haven't made it. You just get a bit of tidiness, brush your hair, fix your shirt. Joe at 18, who is depressed, and to pick him up. That's why I'm there. Because if someone continued the work that Vaughan was doing when I was 18 years old, my life would have taken a different route. Maybe I would have become a doctor. Stable hands. But there wasn't.
Not so stable, left hand.
Yeah, not so stable.
We'll get into that just now.
So I think that is exactly, and Be That Guy started as be a Vaughan to others, and then I realized no one knows who's Vaughan. So I said, Be That Guy. So Vaughan is the inspiration for Be That Guy.
So I want to touch, and people, we're having an open conversation. People can judge, people can think whatever they want. I want to touch on me doing charity work. So I know I'm involved in a lot of places, and I know we do good. But I do charity work more for me than for the charity. And in a weird way, I don't want you to think there's something wrong with me. Maybe there is. But in a weird way, the moment that I help either an association or a children's home or whatever, it makes me feel good about me. I like that feeling because I know I hunt that. And eventually, the bigger the business becomes, the more we can give to a charity that makes me feel better about myself. And I'm sure in a weird way we align there.
Charity is the most selfish thing I've ever done.
I share that with you.
Because it's about how I feel to give. When you know that you have impacted someone's life, it's how it makes you feel. Because that also compels you to do it again.
Again and again.
So, yeah.
That's my drug. And it's like also taking a young kid, bringing him into the company, growing that person, grooming him, and seeing his life change and letting him loose. Even if he doesn't stay, that makes me feel good. It's not a charity case, but it's a form of giving back. We've been blessed with so much, and that's how we give back to the community and to our surroundings.
So Vaughan has been dead now for 21 years. Still his legacy lives on. So that what we do now echoes into eternity. That one day when I meet, or you meet a little Joe that came out of school, Be That Guy school, and you ask him what was the turning point. And he says there was once this guy with a beard, I don't remember his name even, but this guy changed my life. That is my legacy that I want to leave behind. They don't have to know my name, as long as they know how I made them feel.
So I love that. You go and speak to 13-year-old Joes, boys and girls. Then you go to speak to 16-year-old Joes, and you address the mindset that you had back at that age, and you try and course correct.
Exactly.
Beautiful story. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, let's get into something even more serious. I'm joking. No, that was the serious part. You're lying at night. You're lying in bed. There's so many things going through your mind. You've got lots of moving parts. You need to be checking on this, a million things. I don't know how you do it all, but you do it because it's clear. What keeps you up at night? What are you thinking about? What's worrying you?
That is a deep question. That's personal because it's first in the bedroom and it's only in my mind. Yeah.
So let's take it out of the bedroom. That one night when you fell asleep in front of the TV on the couch. Okay. What keeps you up at night?
I think, honestly, mine is the fear of failure. But in not failing myself, because I've got the mindset, if I fail today, you'll see me try again tomorrow. The fear of failure in the sense of letting people around me down. So many people depend on what we do. And like you said now, giving people opportunities in that. That is a big, massive responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think mine is that I've tried everything I've done. I've tried to incorporate other people, to help people, to uplift people.
To grow.
And it's like a chain. Chain's got different, rings on, links on it.
Yeah.
And you are the first one. So attaching all these extra links, at some stage, the chain has to break at the weakest link.
Yeah.
And I'm so scared the link is me, because if it breaks at me, the whole chain drops.
Drops.
If it drops in the middle, we can fix it.
We can pick it up again.
And I think, so fear of failure, because sometimes I'm guided by ego, sometimes I'm guided by opportunity or whatever. So my mind races with how am I going to make it work so that everyone benefits.
I speak to a lot of people, and I have an opportunity to speak to a lot of successful people. And a common trait, believe it or not, is most successful people are, I don't know what the right word is, but paranoid maybe is the right word. They're constantly fearful of not losing money or losing, because they know how to do it. I'm not scared of losing my business. I can build it up again faster because I'm a better businessman I am today than I was 5 years ago.
You've got experience, you've got the know-how.
100%. But I'm afraid of losing the relationships that I've built, because that's very difficult to achieve.
I think that is exactly what it is.
Yeah, awesome. We're going to touch on it just quickly and then bounce back.
Okay.
COVID-19. It's been a rough journey for all of us in one way or another. If you were to take out a positive out of COVID-19, what would it be? I'll share mine with you. So COVID-19 has accelerated in our industry the term digital retailing. So we've always sort of had it on the side here, and we've just focused in the business, not on the business of pushing cars, growing the company, growing leaders. But COVID-19 has taken digital retailing, it's removed everything else, and it's placed it here. So that's a positive. We've spent a lot of time and money on the website and made sure the processes and procedures can be done, I say 11 o'clock at night on the toilet. You can buy a car. That's the dream for us going forward. You can do it anywhere on the planet. What positive can you take out of COVID-19 as Joe Black and in the industry that you're in?
I think we are fortunate enough that before COVID, we were so busy.
Very busy.
And when this lockdown came, everyone took a financial knock. But that's what I also say, we can make money again tomorrow. Money, that doesn't bother me. First of all, I got to spend time at home. There were no stage lights. No one was screaming my name. There was no one who wanted to take pictures. So it basically forced me to realize, who is Joe Black alone?
If you don't mind, I want to just dive a little bit deeper into that, because people don't realize, we've had conversations off camera, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What is a normal busy week? Because busy for me is one thing, and for a guy working 8 to 5, that's busy. What is a busy week for you? What does that mean?
Okay. Do you want me to explain the last week that just passed?
So let's go with the last week.
Okay. So
shows.
I do filming. So we start at 6 in the morning.
6 a.m.
And we shoot 3 episodes. Yeah, on set. And that is about 80 kilometers from our house.
You drive.
So we drive at 5:15. We shoot the whole day till about 5 o'clock. Then I race home. Normally we have a sound check at 5 o'clock, but I can't make it, so my band does sound check. 7 o'clock I'm on stage and I play my show. So just a stupid one. Last week I played a show on Thursday night. I got home just before 12, before curfew. But then to wind down, from this adrenaline rush show, I go to bed about 1, 2 in the morning. Friday morning I got up at 4. We left at 4:30 for Let's Tele. We drove there, we played an afternoon show. We finished at 6 o'clock. So I decided to drive back. We got home at 11:30. Again, got into bed past 12. Saturday morning, got up. We had rehearsals, and then we had a sound check. Then I had a massive show at a casino. Got home at 12. Got to bed at 2 that morning. And then Sunday, drove to Joburg at 7 o'clock in the morning because I've got sound checks by 9. And we played a whole show that whole day. I came back Monday morning, which where are we now?
On Tuesday.
We're on a Tuesday already.
Yeah.
So Monday, I had meetings the whole day till about 6 last night. And then this morning, I got up at 5:30 to be at 7:30.
Yeah.
And then from here, I've got rehearsals till 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then I think I'm done for the day. So we're busy. And that's the thing. It's busy. And it's not just being busy, your mind being busy.
Physically
Spending 8
busy.
hours on the road, there's nothing else I can do.
Yeah.
So I try and catch up on my admin, but sometimes we're driving, we don't have signal. So you actually sit there. So it's just being busy. That's
I want the people watching the show to realize what he just said. And I mean, you haven't been doing this since yesterday. You've been doing this how many years in a row?
Yeah, well, full-time like
Full-time.
this, intense, the past 5 years.
So a lot of us can go 100% for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But doing this for 5 years, non-stop, it's intense. Respect to you.
This is where the grey hair comes from.
Respect to you. It's a massive commitment to the industry, to yourself, to your family, because you're doing this for your family ultimately. And it's a massive commitment to everybody out there that's a fan. And those are millions of people. Then I want to touch on something that you just mentioned, the unwinding. So, I mean, I don't have the ability to stand in front of people and play music for thousands of people. That must be a high that, it's indescribable. How do you go from there to falling asleep? What's that process? Do you have something unique you do if you want to share, or is it different every time, depending on the situation?
Well, honestly, I think...
Or you're just dead tired and you fall asleep?
No, that's the other thing. My mind is so busy the whole time. Sometimes I'll take a sleeping tablet just to unwind,
Just to chill.
Yeah. Because, again, you're rushing, thinking of new ideas, because tomorrow's a new day.
You have to be better.
Where do we have time? We all get 24 hours a day. In my industry, the biggest, commodity that we have is giving my time to you.
Yeah, 100%.
So out of 24 hours, how many hours are we going to be asleep? Deduct that already. How many hours do I have to give my wife and my 2 daughters? And then how many hours do I have to give to myself? Because you can only give what you've got.
That's 100%, and that's a priority. You need to give time to yourself.
So in 24 hours, I give away my time. And this is what they call successful, is the fact that I now charge more for my time. But I'm still giving away the same valuable time. That's the one thing I don't get back, so now I'm exchanging it for money.
Yeah.
So at least I leave something else, for my family or whatever. So I think the whole unwinding thing it's thinking till you fall asleep.
Giving back that time to yourself. Because I see it this way, of late, I'm very strategic and I choose who I spend my time with. People that are negative, even internally in the company, I really give them no time. I want to give 100% of myself to the people that not only matter, but that do the same for me.
Yeah.
And as you said, your family and yourself, I think that's priority.
People who fill up your cup.
Yeah, people that fill up your cup. Awesome. Love it. It takes a village to raise a man.
True.
A whole village. If you were to choose the 3 people in your village that were most influential in your life and career and success, we know who number 1 is. We spoke about him. Who are the other 2 people and why?
I'd say the first one is my grandfather.
Okay.
So I grew up with my grandfather much of my life. He is...
Still alive?
No, he passed away 5-6 years ago already.
Okay.
So his thing is, he is one of the most humble people I've ever met.
So are you.
Well, donkey, yeah.
So are you. I can really say that.
Donkey. He is one of those, he used to have a massive rank in the police and that. But I remember coming home from school, primary school, and he'd sit underneath his tree with 3 hobos. If that's still a word, I haven't heard that. Boomelaars.
Boomelaars, yeah.
Speaking Zulu to him, because my grandfather was fluent in Zulu. He's from Swaziland. And he'd walk in and say, come say hello to the ooms, to the uncles. And I'd have to say hello. And then one day I said, you really shouldn't give these guys alcohol, because that is a massive problem. He says, no. Sometimes our problems can't just be solved with a prayer. sometimes you just need a good shot of alcohol to calm you down. So that was it. He'd sit with hobos, but tonight when we talk, he'll talk about his trips overseas with the president and ministers and all that type of stuff.
Wow.
And that is, I think, I've never heard him talk down about people who don't have, or talk up to people. I also can tell you this, that he had a good pension, okay? He took an amount out of his pension, and the rest he gave away. So he was the unofficial mayor of Volmer, because people would know him driving down there, buying groceries for people down here, and sitting with them, going, because he stopped drinking 25 years ago, but just going, sitting there, but buying a bottle of wine for the guy, and just listening, just chatting.
Wow.
So he's definitely one, and also the way he talks, the stories he used to tell. He's always, everything is a story. If you talk about car sales, he'd tell you one time in 76 when he bought a car there, that is how they, everything's a story. I think the second or third, that would be my mother. I'm thinking there's a couple of people, if I really have to put top three. Now there's a lady who has, I promise you, she would probably go to jail for the stuff she's done to make sure that we're okay.
Like every mother should.
Like every mother should. So
but not all do.
No.
Not all do.
Yeah.
And she did.
So she's the one that bent over backwards, despite herself, despite her career, despite her ambitions. She set everything aside because she had this problem team that she had to raise. So I'd say the third most influential person in my life is my mother.
I've had the opportunity and the privilege and the honor to meet your wife and your mom, and both are very strong people. I think they need to be, to have this this man in the middle that they take care of.
My wife can teach you swear words you've never heard before.
But she never will. No. She can, but
she will.
She's very, 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 very ladylike.
Yeah. True.
Mr. Joe, to give the viewers some caution perhaps, if you could choose one landmine that you've stepped on that blew a piece of your leg off, that you can maybe guide, our age people and young people to avoid stepping on, what would that landmine be and why?
So I don't know what it is. If you call it ego, hardkoppigheid, I don't know what's the word.
Yeah, hardkoppigheid, yeah.
Or just pride. Okay. So that was my biggest downfall. Because at a stage where, obviously, since a young child, I've had depression, say. And with Vaughn's death, just tipping that scale over to a self-destructive Joe. Even coming out of that semi by myself or whatever, never talking about what's going on in here. So I'm always, my go-to line is if my wife starts stressing about something, and I'm talking about back 10 years ago, and she say, listen, we don't have money for electricity. And then, sorry, if a friend comes and say, hey dude, how are you doing? No, I'm doing well. Anything I can help with? No, I'm fine. Don't worry. There's so much pride in me that I will do this myself. I will show the world I'm a self-made man, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So my biggest landmine is being full of pride and ego.
And not speaking about your problem.
Not speaking out about what's going on here. That
seeking
when
help.
you're down, exactly that.
Seeking help.
Because there is a stigma that if you do it by yourself, the Frank Sinatra saying, I did it my way.
Yeah.
The self-made man. There is no self-made man in the world.
Absolutely.
Even if nothing happens without relationship. But not knowing that, I thought the more I can be manly, be strong and show them, the more respect I will get when I pass through this. When I make it and someone say, how did you do it? I did it on my own. I didn't have help. I didn't have anyone. That was my biggest mistake, because I know I would have been so much further in life, not just financially, emotionally, all that type of stuff, if I'd let people in earlier.
Makes perfect sense. Oh, something that just hit me a while ago. A person that I'm very close to taught me a graph. So I'm gonna try my very best without using pen and paper. When the pressure grows, at this point, there's a bit of a tipping point. So right there, you plateau in any part of your life. You plateau in your career, you plateau in your income, you plateau in your creativity. At that point, you need to check yourself. The pressure is up. What part of my life do I need help with? And who can help me? So if you want to go fast, you can go alone. But if you want to go far, you need a friend. Or if you want to go really far, you need lots of friends.
Yeah.
So, for example, it's like a thermometer. Your temperature in your faith. Let's say, for example, mine is at 70 degrees. And I feel like I need to come closer to God. And I've got a friend that's at 95 degrees. His name is Quentin. He's, man, when it comes to that part of his life, he's just a mentor to me. I'll give him a call and I say, Q, I need your help to raise my temperature in my faith. These are the areas that I'm struggling with. Can you please process this with me? And boom, my temperature rises. I've got someone else when it comes to income. If I have a great month, I'm thinking, it's so awesome. Everybody in the company made money. We wrote a big GP, and that's when I catch myself. How do I go above that X amount that we've achieved? And I just find that one person that's, if I'm at 50 degrees and he's at 90, I'll just give him a shout and say, listen, I had a big win. Every time I have a win in anything in life, I get petrified. I'm getting goosebumps right now because how do I better that? I've put in so much of myself to have this big win. How do I make that win bigger? And that's through asking help.
Yeah.
And asking help with a subject where people are ahead of you. I can't ask, for marriage help from a dude that's been divorced four times.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I can ask you for marital help. You've got children. You've got a wife that has stuck with you through thick and thin, and you can pass that on to me. But I can't ask that help from a divorced person.
Don't get any advice from me on car sales.
Car sales. I've got a good team around me that I can seek advice on. But marriage and life experience, I can definitely come to you.
But
definitely.
exactly, just an example. Yesterday was a tough day. So recently I shattered my whole shoulder.
So let's get into that.
Yeah.
Were you windsurfing? What were you doing?
I wasn't even surfing because it doesn't count. I tried to surf, but I didn't make it to surfing, so I just fell. Shooting TV programs and that. So
part of your day.
Part of
your day.
Yeah.
And it happened. And you've been public about it. You've even shared on social media. I saw the scar earlier.
Yeah.
I'm in pain. Just my gosh. Looking at it makes me. It looks Aina.
Luckily, I can't see it, so that's fine. But I mean, yesterday was, I want to say, a low day. In the sense that I'm overwhelmed. I am busy with the biggest project I've ever taken on. And that frightens you.
Yeah.
So there are, like you say, certain people you talk to certain stuff about. I won't go to my wife with my stress because she doesn't know my industry.
She doesn't have moral authority in that subject.
Exactly. I'll talk to her about how I'm feeling or whatever.
She has moral authority about that
So
subject.
I've got a friend who's not in the music industry. But he's, like you said, his temperature for taking on these exhilarating or thrill-seeking projects is at 90. And I need to get where he is. And I tell him, this is what I'm facing. And he'll say something like, dude, that is exciting. When I put down the phone, I just have closure.
Yeah.
Then at some stage last night, I had some financial stress where I looked at the books and I said, it's going to be a failure.
It needs attention.
It needs attention. I've got a financial mentor, which I pick up the phone
High
and say,
temperature.
can we just talk about this? And all he does is just explain numbers because I'm not good at numbers. He explains it, and he just actually calms my temperature on that one because I was starting to freak out about the math of everything. So again, I have people that I run to, and it's stupid when people look at Joe Black and they love what we've done and what we've achieved. What they don't know. Behind the scenes,
A team,
there's
a village.
a team of Joe Blacks. There's a team, people who help me write my songs, people who help me produce my songs. Because I mean, you can't be everything. I can write songs, but I'm not the best. But if me and you and another guy combine, we can write the number one hit.
Number one hit, yeah.
And that is what I do. I just harness from everyone around me what I want to become.
Amazing. Awesome. I've got a weird question.
Okay.
You ready? If you had the opportunity to spend a full day with someone, living or not living, from morning, we cut that busy schedule, we block your diary for a day, and you could spend that one day with someone, but with a mindset that you have now, and you could just have breakfast, do whatever you could, living or not living. Who's that person and why?
Yeah. So this is double because it's a weird question. Because Joe at 21 would probably mention an idol, a hero that I want to meet and spend time with. Imagine you could change the world. Okay.
Okay.
So, example, because I can't off the top of my head think of one person, but just thinking now, if Joe now, with the tools that I have, with the character that I have, the personality, imagine I went and I spent time with Elvis or Kurt Cobain the day before his suicide.
And be that person, I'm getting goosebumps, and be that person at that stage of his life to course correct.
And
that
why
would change the world.
Why I'm saying this is Joe 10 years ago was what could that meeting do for me?
Yeah.
Mature Joe is what would that meeting do for that person?
Yeah.
Why would he want to spend a day with me instead of me spending? So you can go anywhere. If there was one person who could change the course of history to where we are now, I would go sit with, think of a big racist or whatever. I'll go sit with him, the Ku Klux Klan leader of 40, 50 years ago. See if I can convince him that love is actually the way. Or that's a massive feat. But a musician who everyone misses, Kurt Cobain, who committed suicide, Elvis Presley, tell him don't eat in the toilet. No, so I would see whose life I can go and inspire.
What you just said to me, I don't want people to miss this. It's very important that they don't miss this. You want to know what you can do for that person. And I know you're not just saying that, because many people do. You really are that person.
That's what we have to strive for.
That's you, 100% you. I know it is. Awesome answer. I never thought of an answer like that. That's great. Thank you. Another weird question.
Yeah, in your weird vraag. Okay?
Only weird stuff.
Yeah.
There's a room. Okay. You can be a fly on the wall, but you understand and you can process what's going on in the room.
Yeah.
So who's in the room and what are they talking about?
It's Paul Kruger, and he's telling his best friend where he's hiding the Kruger.
Awesome. I would also want to be a fly on the wall there. Okay, that's...
I'm thinking, if you look at success, not just financially, I look at people happy. So I will never ask you what you do for a living, because you're probably going to tell me what you do for money. I want to know what makes you come alive. So if I say, what do you do for a living, that's a certain question. If I say, what do you do for money, you tell me you sell cars.
Interesting, because I never thought of it that way.
No.
But that makes sense.
You are a car salesman, but Saturday night at a braai at my house, you're not a car salesman. No. So I'll ask you there, hey, what do you do for a living? You say, I sell cars. No, you're not selling cars, you're being a friend.
Yeah.
Because you must understand what is the different roles, caps we put on.
Yeah.
So now I'm a friend.
Yeah.
And maybe giving advice or whatever. When I go home, they call me Dad. They don't call me Joe Black at home.
It's the father hat.
Exactly. So, but always, even you've been a son longer than you've been in the car trade.
Yeah, I'm a son.
But if I tell you, so what do you do for a living? Oh, I sell cars. And you take that. Now, most people aren't fortunate enough to have something that they're passionate about, that they actually love. Like me, I have my music and I'm passionate about it. So to say I'm a musician means that's true, because that's what I do every day. Even if they don't pay me, I make music. You breathe, eat vehicles, the motor industry.
The business environment.
Business environment. That's what you thrive on. But that's not who you are. That is what you are from Monday to Friday.
Yeah. Wow, that's deep.
Yeah, and so I would look at someone who is successful, but in the sense of they have achieved enough in all facets of their life where they're actually content with life.
Yeah.
I want to be in that conversation to see how did they start it up? How did they set up their whole module? Because I'm thinking of a guy like Richard Branson. I'm sure that guy, more people has his telephone number than mine.
Yeah.
He's got more influence around him than what I have in my small sphere. But yet, you see him on private jets flying, enjoying his life or whatever. I mean, maybe it's just social media wants us to believe that. But I have the sense that a guy as busy as him can take a week off and not feel bad about it because he's living his best life.
So in each capsule areas of his life, his temperature is just very, very high. That's success.
That is, to me, to be when I walk in the house and my kids run out the room, instead of sticking to their iPads, hey, Dad, whatever. I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a husband, I'm a friend, I'm a musician, I'm all this. But combined, I'm Joe. And not even Joe Black, because Joe Black is a part of who Joe is.
That's a high five moment.
Well, thank you.
Well done. That's amazing. Guys, if you, in the last 5 minutes, I got so much value out of this conversation. You really, you need to rewind 5 minutes and watch it again. It's amazing. Thank you very much.
That. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, in the area, in the Greater Northern area, you are known as die Loodpoot van Pretoria Noord.
Yeah, I was born with a heavy right foot.
So you've put that title up for grabs, where I've challenged you and I lost. So I'm a man's man, and manly enough to say I lost to you to that challenge. So you still hold that title. What was your first car that you ever owned?
A Mini 1275 1982 model.
1982 1275.
Yeah.
That was the one that didn't have good brakes. It's not like the Minis today.
That's the one, because the engine is mounted sideways.
Yeah.
If you're in second gear and you rev it hard enough and you get momentum, it's the only car you can wheelie. It looks like it's got hydraulics in it. Yeah, so I was 16 years old and my dad bought me a Mini 1275. So all my friends back then started getting motorbikes, and I played for 2 weeks. I played at a lodge in Magubaskloof and I earned some money. And I got on the bus, drove to see my dad in Petersburg, and from there I was going to take the bus home. And as I came in, I saw this 1275 for 5,900, bright red, spotless.
Nice.
And my dad stopped at the bus stop and I said, there's this car, a Mini 1275, and my dad had a Mini. That's one of his first cars.
How do you fit in a Mini? Okay, but we'll get into it.
No, it's a big car inside. You know. But anyway, so my dad said, let's go look, and we looked at the car, and my dad gave up the money, we paid, and then I drove that car from Petersburg to Pretoria.
At 16 years old.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that was my whole high school. Till even when I started working, I was driving a Mini 1275.
Nice.
Yeah.
If money was no object, and you didn't have to take the kids and the family, just for that Joe time, what's your dream car?
I'm driving my dream car.
Wow. Yeah. Tell us about it.
I've got a Toyota Land Cruiser 5.7 V8.
Awesome.
So if money wasn't an option, I'd drive that for the rest of my life. But due to the diesel prices going up,
let's not talk
drive
about
it on Sundays.
On Sunday, weekend toy.
Yeah. No, awesome. I think, and knowing you, I mean, we drive a lot of cars and stuff, and I've driven everything that I've thought was amazing cars. I realized after a week, you get used to stuff.
Yeah. The Cruiser is still exciting.
The Cruiser is that one thing that still excites me, especially where other cars don't want to go.
The
just
Cruiser
show them the way. It's like in life. When people are scared, you show them the way.
Awesome. Great advice. Favorite book? What's your favorite book?
So I used to read a lot.
Yeah.
When we got busy, I don't have time to sit down and actually just... What I am doing now... Audible, but I've enlisted myself and my oldest daughter for a speed reading class.
Wow.
So that I can start reading. I met someone who reads over 2,000 words per minute, and his target is to read a book a day, and he does it.
That's amazing.
Since the beginning of 2021 till now, he's read a book a day.
Mega mind.
And that is when you talk to him. And he's got 80% recall.
80%?
80%. So I'm doing a course now to do that. I want to read a book and recall 80%.
Amazing.
But anyway, because we spend a long time on the roads, Audible. And if I must think lately, what I've listened to is Atomic Habits.
Okay, great.
But this year, the book that stood out is You Can't Break Me, David Goggins.
Hard book.
Yeah.
Lots of language in there.
Oh, love it. He talks like I mean, we come from this area. That's the only language we understand.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So 2 books. I hope you guys downloaded on Audible. Both available on Audible.
Yeah, You Can't Break Me, and then Atomic Habits. I forgot the author now.
It should be one on Audible.
Yeah.
So we'll maybe take a screenshot and put it up on the screen for both books, maybe with a couple of links underneath the video. Awesome. Then, what do you have going on right now? What can we be excited about? What don't we know about yet? And where do we find all this cool stuff? I know you've got a lot coming out.
Yeah.
Can you please share some with us?
So again, now COVID, every musician in South Africa is sitting back waiting for the inboxes to fill up with, bookings. And so mine's coming in and it's great, but I can see there isn't confidence out there where a client will say, okay, I'm willing to put down a deposit to save the date because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. And we've seen how, we make plans and nothing works out like we planned it. So I said, listen, let's think outside of the box. So I'm not sitting back waiting for bookings. I'm taking the show to whoever doesn't want it or even wants it.
They don't have a choice.
Yeah, they don't have a choice.
They will experience the force of nature, which is Joe Black.
Sure. So I've partnered with Weber, Mitmak, Jacaranda, a couple of guys to plan the biggest tour South Africa has ever seen to the towns that have never seen shows.
So what does that mean? The people that don't get to
have these big shows that normally, so the big towns always have a festival and people can drive there, or we expect, because that's the drawing power, people drive 100 kilometers to come watch a show.
So you want to drive to the people?
I want to drive 100 kilometers to the people and put up a show and hopefully get the surrounding areas, because those people aren't exposed to this type of stuff.
Awesome.
So it's called the Traveler Tour.
The Traveler
Tour.
Tour.
I'm traveling around the whole country, putting up show. And if you see this convoy, we're 35 people on the road.
Amazing.
So we've got buses, trucks, combis, buckies, everything, just driving in convoy to go put up the biggest show that any town has ever seen.
How many locations are you going to visit, and what are some of the locations?
Let's not number them. No, so I've got 20 planned now.
Yep.
So I'm starting in Uppington.
Uppington, all the way up there.
All the way up north. I've got Vryburg, I've got Bethlehem. We're going down to Oudtshoorn.
Awesome.
I've got just past Rustenburg. We're doing the whole country, but the more people want us, I will make sure the show comes past your town.
So if you guys are in a small town somewhere in South Africa, give us a shout out. We'll connect with Mr. Joe.
We just need a piece of ground where we can fit enough people in there.
100%. Sir, it's been an emotional ride. I've gotten massive amounts of value. I know the viewers have as well. I want to say thank you very much for sharing your time, sharing a piece of you, sharing your knowledge, and sharing some of the mistakes that you've made so that hopefully other people don't take part in those. It's been an amazing time. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks.